GWATA TV gives you a first look at North Central Washington's business news. You'll hear from our local business, tech, and education companies as Jenny discusses hot topics and current events with some of the best innovators and pioneers in North Central Washington.
Hello, North Central Washington. I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, your host for GWATA TV. Each week on GWATA TV, we dive into a new business in town, an existing company, what's going on in technology, or education. And today's episode is going to be a lot of fun. We're interviewing the management team at Mission Ridge, an iconic, important part of our community, a thriving place to be in the winter. So we're going to dive into what's going on at Mission Ridge in terms of operations, how they utilize technology, as well as a brief look into their past and what the plans are for the future. Before we bring on our guests, I'd like to give you a preview of what's ahead by playing a clip from Josh Jorgensen, the general manager of Mission Ridge. Enjoy this clip, and when we come back, we'll be with the Mission Ridge team.
As we welcome in the 2018-19 ski season, we're really excited about the Mission Ridge expansion plan and rolling it out to the public. The ski industry is certainly changing, and with Vail Resorts and Alterra purchasing Stevens Pass and Crystal Mountain Resort in just the last 6 months, the effort to stay modern and current and relevant in terms of infrastructure is more important than ever. You know, the main things that are issues that we're fixing with this plan are additional day-use parking, additional lodge seating, and restaurant and food and beverage services. We're looking to increase our capacity for beginner skiing and teaching more people in the valley how to ski with our award-winning programs. Another key priority of the plan is to update all of our existing infrastructure, including all the lifts within the current Mission Ridge property, as well as introducing Nordic skiing trails and snowshoe trails and general snowplay trails for non-skiers so that they have a place to recreate in the winter. Another key priority in the plan is on-site lodging and accommodations, which is really a game changer for Mission Ridge and differentiates us from the rest of the resorts in the Northwest. We really care a lot about maintaining the vibe, the feel, the small community we have, and we've made that a core value of how we can grow into the future. Our expansion plan isn't going to change who we are. It's going to make us better and make the experience better for everyone long into the future. We are so proud of this project and all of the work and planning that's gone into it, and the community members that have contributed and really put a lot of work and diligence into providing a plan to the county that exceeds their expectations and their standards. And that's who we are. We're reliant on this land and good stewards of it, and we are because we have a vested stake in maintaining the land for the future for ourselves and generations to come. The positives of the Mission Ridge expansion plan include doubling our employment base and doubling our economic impact on the Wenatchee Valley. Additionally, this plan will increase the opportunities for outdoor recreation in the winter. This plan is going to really help us survive and thrive long into the future.
Welcome back to GWATA TV. I'm here with Tony Hickok, Marketing Director at Mission Ridge. Welcome to GWATA TV.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me today, Jay.
Well, it's a really fun topic. I mean, Mission Ridge is an icon in our community. It's a fun place to be. So how would we not want to talk about Mission Ridge, right?
Well, you know we like to talk about it a lot. So.
And you've had a great year.
It has been. It's been, you know, one of the best years in recent memory. You know, we've had really consistent snowfall. We had 50 inches of snow in the first 2 weeks of February, made for not just some of the best days of the season, but some of the best days people have ever had. It seems like we've been saying that almost every year lately, but the good times just keep on rolling up at Mission Ridge.
Yeah, and you keep building momentum, not only in the community for future plans that we'll talk about a little bit later on, but the outreach. I mean, people come across the state to ski at Mission Ridge.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see a lot of our local friends that we see up there all the time, but also the opportunity to welcome folks into our community up to the mountain and also get first-timers skiing and snowboarding. So it's just been a really great time, kind of culminating a couple weeks ago with Rails and Ales in downtown Wenatchee, the biggest crowd that we've had, and it was just an amazing time, really celebrating what is a thriving winter culture here in Wenatchee.
I think that's really unique about the Mission Ridge team and your outreach in the community, that you come into the community too. It's not just on the mountain. Mission Ridge, whether it's your staff or through events, is really active down here in the valley as well.
Yeah, we really try to be. I mean, the way we see it is it's one community. Wenatchee, the Wenatchee Valley, it's really the only ski town in the state of Washington. With Mission being just 12 miles away, it's just a couple minutes for a lot of folks. And so we really are a part of this community. It's a part of who we are. It's always been an essential part of Mission Ridge and what it means, the experience, what a lot of people call the vibe at Mission. So yeah, we want to be involved as often as we can, and it's great to have opportunities to talk with folks like you today.
Well, that vibe has been in the community a long time. You celebrated a big anniversary a few years ago. How long has Mission Ridge been in operations?
Yeah, so we're in our 52nd year of operations, just celebrating our 50th anniversary a couple seasons ago. So it's been a long, hard process at times, thoroughly enjoying throughout the decades. And it started from the community. The community built Mission Ridge, came together, deciding that Wenatchee really needed a place for winter recreation outside, and it's been through different ownership, and we're super fortunate right now to be independently owned and locally operated, and especially with the state of the ski industry, especially in Washington State, that point has never been more important, and the Wenatchee Valley couldn't be more fortunate to have an amazing owner like Larry Scrivenage.
And let's dive into that. So obviously across the country in the Northwest, the operations of resorts have changed. And so what have you seen in Washington State over the last few years?
Yeah, so this last summer we saw the big boys, that we like to call them, the largest corporations that own a lot of the ski areas in the country, purchase. Vail purchased Stevens Pass, and Alterra Mountain Corporation purchased Crystal Mountain. And then Snoqualmie was already owned by a corporation, Boyne Resorts. So we're seeing large corporate players moving into our backyard. And they bring with them a lot of resources, a lot of changes, and it doesn't make, thriving or even sometimes existing as a smaller independent operation any easier. It's a tough business. We're a lot like our opposite side of the coin friends here in the valley in agriculture. It's every year has its ups and downs. You never know what you're going to get. You got to make the best out of what Mother Nature gives you. But having those corporations in our backyard doesn't make it any easier for us. That's one of the reasons why we're so excited about the expansion, something we were working on before all this changed, but something that became even more important as we're continually seeing these changes in ownership.
So the goal is to obviously remain local, privately owned, by building and expanding the offerings at Mission Ridge, right? So it can continue to be an economic development driver, to continue to be a natural resource that we all get to enjoy. Let's talk about why the expansion is so critical. So there's a lot of really fun and shiny pieces, right? Like new lifts and new routes and great opportunities for beginning skiers. But there's also a lot of infrastructure needs as part of this expansion, right?
Yeah. So kind of the quick overview is the expansion would really give us the things that we don't have. We have a lot of things in spades at Mission Ridge, amazing snow quality, sunshine, short lift lines, and that real local connection. But what we don't have a ton of is beginner terrain, lodge space, and parking. So, the expansion is really geared towards that primarily. But also would allow us to have on-hill accommodations, which would really differentiate us, not only in the state of Washington from what we can offer, but even in the Northwest. And all of that combined is going to allow us to maintain and improve the current infrastructure within the current ski area boundaries by replacing lifts, adding to the lodge that currently exists, and purchasing new grooming equipment and all of those things. So really it's something that allows us to fully flesh out what makes Mission Ridge so special, but then also ensure that as we just celebrated our 50th anniversary, that we're here in another 50 years.
I love how the video and this conversation now has kind of outlined what your vision is. Let's talk about where you are in the process. So this vision for expansion, how's it going? What's been the response? And what does it look like going forward?
Well, in some respects, the vision for expansion at Mission Ridge is 52 plus years old, predating the actual opening of the resort. It's always been part of the model is to continue to develop the infrastructure and the offerings. And so the current iteration of that is over 4 years old, which began with the purchase of private land adjacent to the current ski area. So we're over 4 years into that process. This last summer, we went through public comment periods with the county and the Forest Service. And so we're kind of just still working through that process and, hoping before too long to get approval from those folks. We've had really great communication with the county and the Forest Service, and things are going really well. But like anything that is going to turn out really great, it takes time and it is a process. But it's something that we've been really focused on since almost before this all started was community outreach and community engagement in the process.
And thank you for that kind of recap of where you're at. I know you guys are taking every step possible to ensure that you, get the community buy-in and go through the steps through our local government, who's in support of this as well. Once it gets opened, it's going to be really big for the community in terms of jobs. So I want to kind of wrap up this segment talking about some numbers. So right now, Mission Ridge employs approximately how many people?
When we're fully open and we have all of our part-time staff on our most popular weekends, we're up to 300 roughly.
Okay. And then once the expansion is open, how many jobs, how many opportunities will there be up at Mission Ridge?
Yeah, we look that kind of within maybe the first 10 years of the expansion that we would be able to add at least that many or around that many more jobs to around 600 in total. So adding about 300 jobs here in our local community.
So not only is this going to drive economic development and people into the community and support existing businesses and residents, but it's going to grow the jobs by 300, which is a pretty big number when you're talking about employment.
It's a big number. I mean, it really is a small village up on the mountain. Right. Even though we are part of the community, it is a little bit of a community of its own as well.
Yeah, well, that's exciting news. And we do have to go to a commercial break, but Tony's going to stay on air with us, and we're going to dive into technology and how Mission Ridge is using technology to have really smooth operations and work efficiently. So stay tuned. 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome back to GWATA TV. We're on air today with the team at Mission Ridge. I've been talking with Tony about the history of Mission Ridge and the expansion, and now I want to welcome Kai Carter, who is a man of many talents up at Mission Ridge. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, we were talking during the break about how Mission Ridge has used technology to improve systems. And Kai, your role on the team has changed over the years with the use of technology. Let's talk a little bit about, what your role in snow reporting and IT has looked like.
Yeah, so I started last season as the snow reporter, and most of my morning was just gathering the day's information, whether it was related to grooming or which runs or lifts are going to be open, and passing that on to the rest of the team and the public. This year we've been working on trying to automate that process, have the team in the field report what they've done overnight or the day before, and then basically it's delivered at that point.
And the system you're using has been a Google Suite system, which has kind of some free business applications and a variety of ways to kind of manage data.
Yeah, we've chosen to use the Google Suite tools to, there's a lot of great applications built into that system. So we use that forms, sheets, docs to gather the data and then deliver it directly to those who need it.
And that information, getting it out to the team, is really important when you're running a full-scale facility that involves terrain and the weather conditions and a lot of employees and a lot of guests. How many visitors do you have up the mountain generally on any given day?
Yeah, I mean, it really flexes based on the day of the week, but you know, we can see up to around 3,000 people if it's like a Saturday to a Saturday night. So yeah, it can definitely get busy, and you know, to describe the complexities, I always like to say we have everything from diapers to high explosives and everything in between on the mountain. You know, so it's a really dynamic business, and so communication is super critical. And it's been a multi-year desire to have something that would allow all this information to flow more freely, more quickly into one central hub, and that's what Kai was really able to do this year to build that out, and it's been just outstanding. I used to be the snow reporter, and so I step in for Kai every once in a while, and to step into the system that he built out and just go like, wow, this is, you know, so easy now, and it allows us to really allocate resources to even more critical tasks or to new and bigger and better projects.
And the foundation of being able to even build this infrastructure has really been through the connectivity, right? So the connectivity that you're utilizing up on Mission Ridge is Sky-Fi, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've got great connectivity through Sky-Fi or cell reception when needed in order to obviously take advantage of online tools. So that's key. How has it changed Kai for other departments in terms of using this technology?
Yeah, so one of the departments that's really taken advantage of the G Suite tools is our lift maintenance department. And the assistant director there has actually developed a Google website for their team that basically houses all of their work orders, the documents that they need to know, how to service the lifts, and allows them to basically access it on a mobile device. And so it's really convenient for them because they're out in the field basically all day long, no real access to a computer. They do have some Wi-Fi access on the hill, but primarily it's cellular service. And it's really cut back on their paperwork and their ability to reference those documents at any time, anywhere on the mountain.
And I mean, and that's a real big safety point, right? The maintenance and potential concerns with, what's been happening, or if there's a problem, lifetime data to be able to jump in and solve any critical problems. That's huge.
Yeah, yeah, it's a huge resource for them.
Right,
sure.
Absolutely. Now, you've built out these systems as you've led in your role at Mission Ridge. What advice do you have for other organizations who maybe wanted to look at improving efficiency or using G Suite? Have you had any learning experiences that you could share?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think I've had a lot of learning experiences. I mean, I think it definitely has its limitations.
Okay.
But if you're trying to do something on a budget and you need mobile access and you need to gather this data in a way that is easily scalable and you can store it for a long time electronically, that's kind of what the biggest push for us was, to get away from using paper forms. And so I can think of a lot of companies that would benefit from using G Suite. It's hard to think of an exact example.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think what's important is that sometimes when we look at technology applications, people get overwhelmed even before they start. People get overwhelmed by price points, thinking that they need to build or customize specific software, when they can really tap into whether it's Google or other large software tools to customize it for their business and make quick improvements. Yeah,
that's what's great about, I think, G Suite is it's very customizable. Google has actually developed a scripting language that you can, it's very, very powerful. You can write scripts to do a lot of things that aren't readily apparent in their system. So if you have that ability, then it's a great tool to use.
And then for your team, as you're teaching them to use this new technology, not everyone is tech savvy, right? So the Google Suite's allowing even those who might not be as comfortable on a computer or with data to input and read that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think a lot of people and a lot of businesses would like for those people who are not very tech savvy, we use Google Forms a lot. It's easy. They pull up the URL and they can input the information.
And hit submit.
And it's done. And they don't have to worry about it anymore. It goes into our sheet and we can process it from there. Yeah.
Right. Really cool. Well, I love how Mission Ridge is continuing to, be a leader in our community, not just from the development and the expansion plans, but how you're driving operations internally. So thank you both for the work you're doing. We also had some exciting news to share on air today about Mission Ridge plans for 2019-2020. So Tony, can you loop us in on what's going to be happening next year?
Yeah. As we're kicking off the season pass sale for next year, I mean, there's still some great skiing and riding to be had this year, but as we're kicking off that pass sale for next year at our lowest prices, we're very excited to be looking at a 7-day-a-week operating schedule for much of the season next year. Generally we've been closed Tuesdays and Wednesdays, January, February, March, a little bit different, and we're looking forward to being open 7 days a week from about mid-December to about the end of February. So definitely check out our website, missionridge.com, for all that info and all the latest on everything going on up at the Hill. But we are very excited to be announcing that and to be looking forward to just keeping the good times rolling.
Well, that's huge. 7 days a week up at Mission. There's no excuse not to get up to the mountain with a schedule like that. I imagine you guys will be using technology even more so that you can take advantage of some downtime too when you're going live 7 days a week. So thank you again for coming on air, and we encourage you to check out the Mission Ridge website, hit the mountain this year, and then plan ahead and buy your season pass now. We'll be right back. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, which featured the story of Mission Ridge, their plans for the future, and how they're utilizing the Google G Suite to improve their operations and communication up at the mountain. Mission Ridge will be at GWATA's Tech Talk and Happy Hour this week, March 7th. So if you want to dive in deep with Tony or Kai on how they're using the G Suite, or any other questions that may have come up, I encourage you to join us for GWATA's Tech Talk and Happy Hour at Badger Mountain Brewery. It'll be March 7th from 4:30 to 6. It's a free and open event, and not only will you mix and mingle with the Mission Ridge team, but the entire GWATA community. GWATA is lucky to have over 150 business members, including Mission Ridge, that support our nonprofit and enable us to do programming like today's episode of GWATA TV. I want to thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on air or at a GWATA event soon.
Since 1999, GWATA has served as North Central Washington's Tech Alliance. As a 501c3, our mission is to bring people and technology resources together to create a thriving community. Through our work, we aim to inspire, engage, and connect.